Hello children and young people. Today I'm talking to you about how to get rid of your feelings of hatred, whether this is towards a friend, family member or sibling. Siblings are the worst for evoking feelings of hatred from us. So if you need to know how to get rid of those feelings of then just keep on watching. I mentioned siblings specifically because I speak to a lot of young people who have really annoying brothers and sisters, and in a way it's such a disruptive thing for the whole of your family if there are a couple of siblings who hate each other and who are constantly fighting. And actually you don't need to learn to completely love each other and be best friends in order for that to change. It only takes one of you to make the change happen, and it's not as painful as it sounds. But here is the key to getting rid of those feelings of hatred. What tends to happen most easily for us is when someone is doing or saying something that brings up those feelings of pure hatred for us, is that we start to think that it's the person doing those annoying things that's the cause of the problem. And in a sense, I understand the logic of that. I can see why you would think that way. But when we tell ourselves, I hate that person, it comes with such poison and venom, and it really does something to your insides. And it's like that poison is in you. It's not, even though you feel it toward them, they're not necessarily getting the full force of it. It's you that gets the full force of it. I think I said it in another show a few months back that it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's that same sort of principle here. So what we need to do in order to feel that hatred a little less is to stop thinking about how much we hate the person and to separate who they are as a human from the thing that they're doing, which is the thing that really annoys us. You can hate the behaviour, you can hate the way that they speak or their attitude or whatever else it is, but don't hate the person. Because when you hate the person, you then start to see everything that they do through that hatred that you have. And then they're never going to be able to get it right. And even the silly things that they do will still fire up those bad feelings in you. Even the things that never used to be annoying to you will start to annoy you because you've made the problem about them as a person rather than the problem being about their behaviour and the things that they do and say. When you separate those two things from each other and you just focus on the things that they're doing and saying that you dislike, then you don't have to apply that I hate them rule to absolutely everything they do and every single thing about them. And it means that the number of times that you end up feeling those negative, hateful feelings will reduce. And it means the severity of the hateful feelings that you feel towards them will reduce. And those are definitely useful things. I typically say to people, in order to change your emotions, we need to look at time, energy, and frequency. And by time, I mean the number of times you end up feeling bad. We want that reduced. We want less bad times feeling bad. Reducing the energy is the amount of hatred that you might feel or the amount of bad feeling that you might feel. You're still going to feel bad sometimes, let's be honest, but if it was a 8 out of 10 before, then we can bring it down to a 4 or a 5. That's going to be better. And with frequency, that's the number of times you return to feeling the bad feeling. So if it used to be 6 times a week, now we bring it down to 3 times a week so that you don't go there quite so many times in the future. So what we're looking to do here is to make sure that you've got a very clear distinction in your mind, like you can clearly separate the differences between the whole person and the things that that person does that frustrate you and annoy you. The other thing that you can do is to start adjusting the way that you speak, both out loud and inside your own head. Because there's a big difference, like literally try this on as if you were trying on a designer jacket. There's a big difference between I hate them and I don't like that. Like one of them feels much more severe and strong than the other. Whereas if we take it down, if we change the actual words and phrases that we use, we can actually not make it a bit more digestible for ourselves. We can make ourselves feel better or not feel as bad as if we were using much more harsh and strong language in our descriptions of someone or what they are doing. So if you want to not poison yourself with bad feelings, then start adjusting the words that you use, the things that actually describe the other people that frustrate you and annoy you, to a lower level so that they, still express your unhappiness, but without necessarily putting you into a really bad headspace at the same time. And the third really useful and important thing that you can do is, when there are times, there may be times, not very often, but when there are times when someone that you dislike is doing something that is alright, like maybe even pretty good, or something that if it was anyone else, you'd probably go, that's really good. When they do something like that, and they will, not necessarily very often, but from time to time, it's really important that you acknowledge it out loud. And that's not for them, that's for you. This is you being selfish, looking after yourself. Because what you'll start to do is you'll start to rewire your own brain to think of them more fairly and to not just be drawn into those feelings of loathing and hatred that you previously felt towards them. So you're doing yourself a favour here. You're freeing yourself up from feeling those bad feelings all of the time, and you're going to be retraining your own brain to accept that actually sometimes they're not so bad, sometimes they're maybe even quite good, sometimes they're perhaps funny, sometimes they come up with good ideas. So when you acknowledge those things for them, but most importantly for yourself, then you are allowing yourself to move away from feeling such deep, dark emotions towards them. Now, sometimes people are hesitant and they don't want to do that because they quite like the idea of having such strong, repulsive, hateful feelings towards somebody else. And that's okay, but just know that that's not going to be making you feel good. It's not going to do anything to them. It's just going to make you not feel good. And ultimately, it's much nicer when we feel good, right? So why would you not want to do that? So if you want to be feeling good more of the time, then give yourself that opportunity to not just see other people in a more balanced way, but perhaps to see life in a more balanced way, and not just zooming in, laser focusing on the bad stuff that's happening out there, but acknowledging and responding to the good stuff too, so that you start to see more of that happening and you give yourself more emotional balance as a result of doing it. So if you found anything in this video useful or interesting today, make sure you click the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Leave any comments that you may have in the comment section down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!